All right, so Wednesday and Thursday might be the days for all of us to take a look at silver and gold prices, particularly when we're taking a look at the technicals. So here we have gold on the chart, and obviously, gold in. I'm recording this actually on Tuesday, pretty much after hours for gold. So not that much activity happening, granted, but this is pretty much showtime for gold. And relative to silver, it plays a part in an important story that I'll go into a little bit more. But as you can see, gold did not close above the downward trend line that pretty much was established weeks ago. And if it doesn't close above and it continues to head down, then it may, be the beginnings of some weakness here. Now, I'm starting to think that we may actually start to see some of that weakness, just given the fact that we've had so much strength. Take a look at the MACD down there below. We've had so much strength in the near term that it looks like it might be petering out a little bit. And if we take a look at the gold to silver ratio, you can really see it. Pretty much here, it looks like the graph is going to the downside, more in favor of silver in the past couple days. The two moving averages here are starting to close in on each other, also showing some weakness in the gold to silver ratio. As you can see here, even the histogram is showing some of that weakness. Now, if we take a look at silver, it's positioned pretty well with not only a double bottom here, but also it's just now beginning its ascent within the MACD. Now it needs to prove itself, obviously. There's a huge psychological resistance level here at the close to the $24 level. This is one of the near-term all-time highs intraday, which would be $23.97. But honestly, if it gets above $24, that's a stronger level of resistance for silver. Now, if it's able to close above that and continuously close above that, then we might start to see some tides changing in favor of silver. Now, here's the thing. This isn't all just happening within a vacuum. The technicals are almost reflecting something that's happening not just within the metal space, but also here in currencies as well. This is the DXY. Now, I did a Fibonacci retracement and also ran some trend lines here, and hopefully you can see that. I'll try to scroll in a little bit more. But again, today is Tuesday, and over the past couple of days, we've been seeing some weakness in the DXY. Now, take a look here. On the episode that came out on Tuesday, make sure to check out that episode if you can. I was basically recording it right when the DXY was flirting with that yellow trend line. Now, it looks like as Tuesday ended, the DXY closed below that trend line. Now, if this continues, I am curious to see if silver will actually get some buoyancy and continue its ascent to the upside. Now, that doesn't mean that gold will not, ascend to the upside. Obviously, gold would benefit from that. But what you're also seeing, in addition to the DXY getting some weakness, is also some other commodities showing a little bit of strength. You have here a representation of lumber. The past few days been gapping up from the bottom. Here is copper. Also a gap up, and recently, it also kind of had a nice day as well. And if we take a look at, let's take a look at U.S. oil. U.S. oil over the last couple of days, strong green candlesticks. Looks like it might be kind of trying to find direction here. And if we take a look at one of the larger airlines in the United States, this is important to take a look at because it's representative of feelings towards a recovery. And as you can see here, we've had some gap ups in the past couple of days. Now, is this going to be sustainable? Again, we don't know that, but here's something that you might want to take note of. First, I'll start with this graph here. and it is the Delta variant. Well, you could just say just generally the 2020 issue graph, but the Delta variant is slowing down in its rate of exponential growth, which is really exciting to see, because what that lets us know and tells us is that, hey, you know, are we going to be, turning the corner a little bit in the next few weeks? Are we actually approaching the peak here? And it looks like some articles have already kind of front ran this and saying the economy could be getting help from positive news on the Delta variant. And this came out on Tuesday, August 24th. And this might be why we're seeing the DXY coming down and some of these reflation trades and commodities rising. So let's see exactly what is being said here. And I quote, "If the U.S. recovery is going to progress, it will need the help of efforts to fight the Delta variant, and there are signs that the tide might be turning, albeit slowly." Again, we haven't hit that peak yet. It just looks like we're slowing that rate. "Cases are continuing to rise, but at a slower pace. That may not be much comfort with the national rate still above 150,000 a day, but it is giving rise to hope that business and consumer activity can keep the economy on track toward pre-2020 levels. The percent increases in cases and hospitalizations are declining each week, indicating progression towards a nationwide peak," Chris Meekins, health policy research analyst at Raymond James, said in a note. And he continues, "While a few days later than predicted, the southern states that were initially hardest hit by the Delta variant appear to be peaking or have peaked." And again, you can see in this video, I'm not going to play it, but it says, travel stocks rally. And I just showed you American Airlines. This person here has a little bit of the crazy eyes. It looks like they're kind of excited about that news. But let's continue. Let's take a look at the Google mobility data. Google mobility data helps underscore the uneven nature of the recovery, as well as the slow but steady path higher. As of August 17th, the numbers for recreation showed continued strong gains, though they were well off their peaks. Mobility for parks, beaches, and other public areas was up 31% from the 5-week period prior to mid-February 2020, less than a month before the official 2020 declaration. By contrast, workplace mobility was still well off the pace. And, obviously a lot of businesses are trying to push back their return to work plans that they, may have jumped the gun a little bit, a couple of months ago. But obviously you're seeing Facebook and Google and others starting to push back their reopening plans to January as opposed to October. Now let's take a look at this retail section. Retail and recreation also remain a shade below, while grocery and pharmacy activity has resumed to a bit above. A tracker that Jefferies has been using to gauge how close the economy is to pre-2020 levels has been hovering near 100% for the past several weeks, and even briefly touched the barrier in late July. Delta is having an impact. We have to acknowledge that. I wouldn't call it significant. I think it's moderate and in many cases very localized, says Etna Markowska, chief financial economist at Jefferies. It's really just causing a loss of momentum rather than pronounced economic weakness, and there is a good chance that it will be very short-lived. Now, this is something I've been saying so many times on this channel. Now, that's not to say that we're out of the woods yet, but that is to say that we might be approaching a peak, and we might start to see assets reflect that, as we are seeing potentially this week, possibly this week, I should say. And I'll end here. Indeed, many medical professionals see Delta peaking sometime in the fall, though estimates vary. So it looks like potentially we're seeing silver rise, American Airlines rise, other commodities rise, and we're seeing the dollar fall. Now, is that due to optimism and that, we might be seeing slowing cases here? Well, you let me know. Let me know in the comments section and let's chat.